Jack's magical adventure under the stars. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there was a brave little boy named Jack. Jack loved to explore and go on adventures, but his parents always told him he had to be home by bedtime. One evening, Jack was lying in bed, looking up at the stars through his bedroom window. He wished he could go on an adventure and stay up all night exploring. Suddenly, a shooting star streaked across the sky, and Jack made a wish. To his surprise, he heard a rustling outside his window, and a tiny fairy appeared on his windowsill. The fairy introduced herself as Tilly and told Jack that she could take him on an adventure that would last all night long. Excitedly, Jack climbed out of his window and onto Tilly's outstretched hand. She fluttered her wings, and the two of them flew off into the night sky. They flew over mountains and valleys, forests and oceans. Jack felt the wind rushing past him, and he could see stars shooting across the sky all around him. He had never felt so alive. As they flew over a dark forest, they heard a loud roar. It was a dragon, and it was blocking their path. Tilly was scared, but Jack was brave. He remembered a story his father had told him about how to defeat a dragon, so he whispered it in Tilly's ear. Together, they landed on the ground and approached the dragon. Jack held out a shiny silver mirror, and the dragon was so mesmerized by its reflection that it forgot to attack them. Tilly and Jack slipped past the dragon and continued on their adventure. They encountered many more obstacles throughout the night, but Jack was always brave and clever, and Tilly's magic helped them overcome them all. As the sun began to rise, Tilly and Jack returned to Jack's bedroom window. Tilly said goodbye and disappeared into the morning light. Jack crawled back into bed, feeling happy and tired. He closed his eyes, feeling grateful for the adventure he had just been on. From that night on, Jack knew that anything was possible, and he could always find adventure, even in his dreams. The Teddy Bear's Secret Adventure. Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Lily. Lily had a special teddy bear that she loved more than anything else in the world. She called him Teddy, and he went everywhere with her, from school to playdates to bed. One night, Lily was getting ready for bed when she noticed that Teddy was missing. She looked everywhere, under the bed, in the closet, but he was nowhere to be found. Lily began to cry, worried that she would never see her beloved Teddy again. Just then, a tiny voice called out to her from under the bed. It was Teddy. He had fallen off the bed and couldn't climb back up. Lily scooped him up and hugged him tightly. She was so happy to have him back. But then, Teddy spoke to her. Lily was shocked. Teddy had never talked before. He explained to her that all teddy bears have a secret life when their owners are asleep, and he had just come back from an amazing adventure. Teddy told Lily all about his adventure, how he had met a group of other teddy bears, and they had gone on a treasure hunt together. They had traveled through forests and crossed rivers, climbed mountains and crawled through caves, all in search of a magical gem that would grant their greatest wishes. Lily was fascinated by Teddy's story, and she asked him if she could go on an adventure with him and the other teddy bears. Teddy nodded, and they climbed down from the bed, hand in paw. The group of teddy bears led Lily through a secret tunnel in the wall, and they emerged in a magical world filled with candy cane trees and lollipop flowers. They crossed a river made of melted chocolate and climbed a mountain made of ice cream. Finally, they arrived at a cave filled with sparkling jewels. Teddy led Lily to a glowing green gem and told her to make a wish. Lily closed her eyes and wished for all the teddy bears in the world to have their own magical adventures, just like she and Teddy had. Suddenly, the gem began to glow brighter and brighter, and a shower of glitter rained down upon them. When the glitter cleared, Lily found herself back in her own bed, snuggled up with Teddy. She knew that her wish had come true because Teddy had a big smile on his face, and he whispered to her, "Thank you for making our adventures even more magical." Lily hugged Teddy tightly and fell asleep, dreaming of all the adventures she and Teddy would have together. From that night on, Teddy and Lily went on many more adventures together, and Lily always knew that her teddy bear was more than just a toy. He was her brave and loyal companion, and she loved him more than ever. Max and Buster's friendship. Once upon a time, In a small village nestled at the base of a mountain, there lived a little boy named Max. Max loved playing outside and exploring the world around him, and he had a special companion who always joined him on his adventures, his loyal and playful dog, Buster. Max and Buster were the best of friends, and they went everywhere together. They ran through fields of wildflowers, swam in the river, and chased after butterflies. Max loved how Buster's tail wagged happily and his tongue lolled out when they were together. They were a true team, and Max knew he could always count on his furry friend to have his back. One day, Max and Buster were out exploring when they came across a group of other dogs who looked lost and confused. Max approached them and realized that they had wandered away from their owners and didn't know how to get back home. Max knew he had to help, so he called Buster over, and the two of them led the group of dogs back to the village. Max went from house to house, knocking on doors and asking if anyone had lost a dog. After a while, they finally found the owners of all the lost dogs, and everyone was overjoyed to be reunited. Max and Buster were heroes, and they were praised by the village for their bravery and kindness. From that day on, Max and Buster became known as the protectors of the village, and they were always on the lookout for anyone who needed their help. As the years went by, Max and Buster grew older, but their friendship never wavered. Buster still had a lot of energy, but he couldn't run and play as much as he used to. Max noticed this and started taking him on slower and gentler adventures, like sitting in the shade of a tree or watching the sunset from a hilltop. One day, when Max and Buster were sitting by the river, Max noticed that Buster was not feeling well. He took him to the veterinarian, who told Max that Buster was very sick and might not recover. Max was devastated. He loved Buster more than anything, and the thought of losing him was too much to bear. But he knew he had to be strong for Buster. He spent all his time by his side, talking to him and holding his paw. One night, when Max was lying in bed, he heard a noise outside his window. He looked outside and saw a shooting star streaking across the sky. He closed his eyes and made a wish, hoping with all his heart that Buster would get better. The next morning, Max woke up to find that Buster was feeling much better. His tail was wagging, and his eyes were bright. Max was overjoyed and knew that his wish had come true. From that day on, Max and Buster continued their adventures together, knowing that their friendship would last a lifetime. And whenever Max looked up at the stars, he remembered the night he made a wish and how it had brought his beloved dog back to health.